Public Transit is planning to cut its services hours next month. The Valley Transit will now rely more on its VT Connector on-demand service during non-peak hours. Starting July 15th, fixed route buses will stop running after 6 p.m. on weekdays and 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Passengers would like a ride after that must request a ride on VT Connector at least 2 hours in advance. One-way trips cost $2, which is a separate fare from fixed route bus fares. The connector routes will serve the same locations as normal fixed routes. These changes come as the public transportation service has experienced a shortage of drivers. Valley Transit leaders say the shortened hours could attract new drivers to the team and possibly satisfy riders. The transit service plans to hold a series of education sessions to help people learn more about how to book rides and use the new VT Connector services. For more information, just visit the Valley Transit website.